Welcome back to Just 2 Minutes, Just a Mishnah. This Mishnah is the Nishmas, Fredele Basrachal, and the Schosa Valley Yitzchak Ben Gila, and the Frost Ser Basuba, some Sachas Bav Metziah, Perak Test, Mishnah Yud Beis, and Mishnah Yud Gimel, Echad Schar Adam, Ve'echad Schar Behema, Ve'echad Schar Kelam, Yesh Be Mishum B'yom Titin Schari. So, whether or not you're hiring a person, or the person's animal, or the person's or something which belongs to the person, so an object. So it all has the same idea that you have to you have to pay up on the same day. So there's two things that you have over here. There's a positive mitzvah, which is to pay on the same day, and there's also a negative mitzvah not to avoid payment. So what case? This is manchatvai. That's only in a case where the worker came and asked for his money. Lightvai, ain't no ever alav. But if the guy didn't ask for it, so then you're not doing an avera if you don't pay up. Himcho etzal chanvani or etzal shulchani. If the guy sends his worker to collect food from a store owner or to collect money from a money changer, and he's going to pay that the person who's giving him the food or money, in or over love. So then it's got nothing to do with him. So if he gets on time, so it's not his fault if the guy doesn't get on time. Sachir, Sachir bismanai nishba v'naitel. So if we have a case here where he has a worker who's coming to get his wages, and it's during like the busy time where he's paying all of his workers. So if the worker says you haven't paid me yet, so the boss isn't. We don't believe the boss if he says I paid him already, because he's got a lot on his head paying all his workers. So we don't believe him. And if the guy says I haven't been paid yet, so he can swear and get his money. If it's after already the time when he's paying all his workers, and the guy comes and says I need money, you haven't paid me, so then we believe the boss basically to say I paid you already, because now he hasn't got so much on his head and he knows what he's talking about, and the worker can't just swear and get his money. But if he has witnesses that he didn't get his money yet, so then he can swear and collect his money. Ger Taishav, so a Ger Taishav is a non-Jew who takes upon himself not to do avodah zarah, not to worship idols. So yesh by mishum yamatitin schar, ve'im by mishum laisam pula sacher itchad biker. So the positive commandment to pay up on time, that applies to a non-Jew who accepts upon himself not to worship idols. But the negative commandment of Laisalan, that it's an avera to not pay up, so that doesn't apply to him. If someone owes someone else money, so the lender can't just go and collect a guarantee by himself. He has to elab the Beis Din. Instead, he has to get Beis Din to do it for him. They have to go and get a guarantee from this guy, which he's going to hold on to until he gets his loan paid up. And even the messenger of Beis Din doesn't go into the guy's house. He has to wait outside for the guy to bring out his mashkan, because it said, for the mashkan, which is the guarantee, because it says b'chutz tamid, you should stand outside and wait for it. If the guy had two vessels, basically, which he was going to give. So what he can do is, let's say he has a pillow and a plow. So the lender can take the pillow during the day, and he can take the plow at night, because then he has to give back the pillow by the night so that the owner can use it, because he needs it to sleep in the night, and he needs the plow for the day because that's when he's plowing. And if while the lender has this guarantee in his hands and in his property, and the lender dies, so he doesn't have to give it back to the guys, or to the orphans, to the people the inheritors of this guy. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says that if after 30 days of him taking the guarantee, if the guy doesn't pay up, so then he gets to give it to Beis Din. Beis Din sell it to him. He gives it to Beis Din to sell, and then he gets the money. Almana benchi ania benchi ashira ema mashkinun isa. Shenemar v'loy sachbol beged almana. If it was a woman who lent the money and now she's a widow, so then you can't demand a guarantee from her, because then if you have a man hanging around her house all the time, it looks suspicious. Says then the pasuk, if someone takes millstones as a guarantee, so he's going over an avera v'chai mishum shnei kelim. Why? Because he's taking two separate devices, basically. Why? Because you have the top part of the millstone with the handle that you move around, and you have the base that it sits in, so it's considered two separate vessels. Shenema lo yachval rechaim v'rechev, because the rechaim and the rechev, that those are the two parts of the millstone. So you're taking two. It turns out you're taking two vessels. And it's not just in this case, but any case where it's a thing, it's where the vessel is used to make food, you can't take. Because it says, you learn out from the pasuk that you're not allowed to take anything which is used to make food, and those are today's Mishnayos.